Oh my gosh, guys. I actually cannot believe that I am here with a microphone in my hand. Like, I have wanted to do this for the longest time. But anyway, welcome to the Normal Mum podcast with me, Karis Harding. We are going to be having all kinds of conversations over here, guys. Some couch conversations, talking all things navigating life, relationships, raising my kids, and trying not to lose myself as I do it. So thank you so much for joining me over here. Grab a cup of tea and enjoy the episode.
And I got this crazy feeling that someday I'll be okay.
Okay, so I thought that it would only be like appropriate to kickstart like the first episode on my podcast, which I can't even believe I'm still saying this. Like, this has been like years in the making for me. I'm not even joking. This has been something that like I have just always wanted to do. We actually had a family YouTube channel. Shout out Morgans if you were there. When I tell you, I loved that. Like, it was so much fun for us. But the reason we actually started it was mainly because we really wanted to just like have a space where we could just talk, because we love family. Like, if there's one thing about me, I just love family. I love family life. I love doing things together. It's literally the best thing. And we actually wanted a podcast and just have like conversations around family, relationships, like everything. That wasn't to be. But do you know what? That was the past. That was a previous dream. But to me, like sitting here now with like a mic in my hand, actually doing a podcast is like such a full circle moment because if you haven't already noticed, and if you don't follow me on other channels, I am such a talker. Like, I am one of those people that overthinks everything. Like, just the whole everything is just like deep. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me here. Like, honestly, this is a dream come true for me. And whether you've come across this because you've come from another social channel of mine or just clicked on this because you thought it looked good, I don't know. But honestly, I'm just so grateful. And I really hope that like you just get something from this. The reason that I called it Normal Mum was because I am a normal mum and you're a normal mum and your normal is normal to you and my normal is normal to me. And I just love normal life. Like, I love it. I love the mundane. I love getting up and living in my house and taking my kids to school. Like, I just love it. Like, it just brings me so much peace and so much contentment, and it's honestly the best. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm so rambling. Let me introduce myself and just tell you a little bit about me, because I think that's just the best way to start with these things. Hey, I'm Karis. I'm a 26-year-old mum of two, and my motherhood journey was premature. Let's just call it that. Like, whenever anyone asks me like when I started a family, I always say I didn't start my family. My son started my family. Like, he just decided that it was about time. Like, we're going to get this show on the road. I was 21 when I found out I was pregnant, and it's been a journey. Let's just say that, okay? I was 21 when I found out I was pregnant, and I will tell you in another episode like how that whole thing came about and talk to you about my pregnancy and that whole thing. Like, being so young, I don't know if it's because I was young or because it was unexpected, but oh my goodness, like that hit me like a train. I remember when I found out I was pregnant, I literally called my sister and I told her. I didn't even tell my husband. I told my sister first because I just needed to get it off my chest. And when I told her, I remember saying, I can't be 21 and pregnant and a mum, and I can't do this. And I remember like on the phone, she turned around to me and she was like, well, you are. And I feel like when she said that, like that was just like life changed, trajectory changed, journey, path, whatever you want to call it. Like, in that very sentence that she said to me, like, well, you are. And like, that was the beginning for me. And I was like, well, I am. I am going to be 21 or 22, I was when I actually gave birth. But I am going to just be a young mum. And just for some context, I had literally got married 2 months before and we just bought a house. We were renovating. Like, we were not in a position at all to be having a child. And I always wanted babies like when I was in my late 20s, when I was like more established, that word that we like to say, like ready for kids. I don't feel like you're ever ready and I don't feel like there's ever a good time, but there's definitely a bad time and that really felt like a bad time for me. Like I said, I had just got married, like just bought a house, my life was just beginning and then all of a sudden I am hit with this moment of I am now going to be bringing in a whole new life to this world that is going to depend on me 24/7, 365. What am I supposed to do? And that was such a big thing for me, like being so young and being pregnant. And at the time, I just started a business. My husband had just started his business. It was like not the worst thing that could have ever happened to us, but it definitely wasn't the ideal situation, you know? Like we had just got married, we just bought a house, we had like not a penny to our name. We were any pennies we had, we were putting into our business. I still lived at my mum's house because we'd taken on a renovation project. It was just wild. Like it was just the wildest thing that I have ever like experience was finding out that I was going to become a mum. Like that was it for me. Like I didn't get the moment of trying for a baby and the excitement of a pregnancy test. I literally took the test because I was trying to rule it out. I then had my gorgeous bundle of joy Sol when I was 22 and when I tell you my whole world changed, like I don't know if it's because I was young and it was unexpected and it was also COVID. Like, let me just add that in there. Like, I also, like, so I found out I was pregnant in December. By the time March hit, we were already in lockdown. Like, that was the situation, Like, so I didn't get to enjoy my pregnancy in the way that I probably would have envisioned it had it been planned. Like, this is just how it was going to go. But honestly, like we did COVID and the whole time that I was growing my son was completely in lockdown in my mum's house because we decided not to move because obviously we were renovating. We decided not to move in to our new house because we couldn't little things like if you remember at the time, like you couldn't get Wi-Fi because no one was coming out to do it. So I was like, I can't run my business and do everything with no Wi-Fi. At the same time, what if there was a problem? Like we've just renovated, we're just moving in. What if there was an issue? Like I could not have done that, like at all. We actually decided that the best thing for us was to just stay at my mum's house. And that's what we did. And I grew like my first baby, Solomon Jesse, at my mum's in COVID during lockdown. And it was such a nice experience because I feel like I was able to enjoy me and my husband and my family without the baby and everything that was ahead. Like, I felt like I could just be, you know, selfish in that time. Like we weren't going anywhere or doing anything anyway. And I really enjoyed lockdown. I know for a lot of people it was so hard, but for me it was perfect. The amount of money I saved on maternity clothes, everybody, was astounding. Like I lived in pajamas and sweatpants like the whole rest of the UK. But that's what I did. Also, I feel like that experience robbed me of being able to be excited for my first child. And I feel like because I was so young and it was so unexpected and so unplanned, I could have really done with that, I think, because I just didn't get to go shopping. Like only once I got to go shopping with my mum. And I don't know if she took me, like she literally called me one day and was like, we're going to just go on a mystery tour. Like we used to have mystery tours when we were young kids, and it was always like my parents would say, we're going on a mystery tour. And basically that was like code for we want to go somewhere. You're probably not going to want to come. So we're going to tell you so that you feel like it's going to be something amazing. We always enjoyed the mystery tours, guys. It wasn't a bad thing, but this is what she said to me. And I thought, here we go, about to become a mum, married woman. And my mum is taking me on a mystery tour to some place that she wants to go. Like, you know. Anyway, she took me to Mamas and Papas, and I think maybe I was 20 weeks. I don't know if I knew if I was having a boy or a girl. Something tells me that I didn't know. And we went to Mamas and Papas, and I don't know if she did that because maybe she felt like I needed that. And this was pre-COVID, by the way, guys. Um, I don't know if she took me because she thought like she could see that I wasn't dealing with it great. Like I wasn't excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I wasn't excited about it. I was so scared. Everything I'd ever seen about being a mother was your life ends. Like you are just a mum now. That is all that you are. You can't holiday anymore. Your life is no longer yours. Like I had seen and heard so many bad things about becoming a mum and what it does to you as a human being that I was just like, I can't believe this is happening to me at 21 years of age. Like, do you know what I mean? So I don't know if she recognized that, but basically that day that she took me to mamas and papas, I don't know if she knows this. So, hey, mum, by the way, that was the best thing she could have ever done for me at that time because it just made it real. Like, I don't think you can get any more real than a literal human growing inside of you and seeing your body change and adapt. And again, I will go into all of that in another episode about the craziness that is pregnancy that I just was not ready for. But anyway, I just needed that. Like, we looked at cribs, we looked at like sets, we looked at prams, and I think as well experiencing that with like my mum just gave me such a sense of ease as well. Cause like, she'd been through that and she was like, she is my best friend. I love my mother so much. Like we have such a beautiful relationship and I really want her on the podcast at some point. But literally it was the best thing she could have done for me. And it really brought it alive, like the idea that I was going to do this. So anyway, I had my whole pregnancy in lockdown. Then we moved out of my mum's house in May when the world opened up a bit more. We were able to move into our home and basically just spend 2 months. That's all we had was 2 months of just living in our house before Solomon joined us. And when I tell you, the birth was not pleasant with Sol. But there's one moment in that whole experience that really stays with me was I was in theatre, okay? And I didn't end up having a cesarean. I actually ended up having an episiotomy and what are they called? Like forceps. 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 Honestly, I I had no idea what they were. They literally said to me, "We're probably going to do this. Like, we're probably going to go in with forceps. Like, we need to pull baby out." Like, and I was like, "That's absolutely fine." I was one of those people. I was super laid back going into birth. Okay. Again, might have been my age, might have been because I'm like, I actually don't want to know what's about to happen and what is ahead of me. But literally, I remember like they were saying forceps. I was like, yeah, great, fab, whatever. Anyway, baby came out. Let me tell you, I have never been so sore in my whole entire life. The recovery from forceps. I apologize if you're listening to this and you're pregnant, but forceps is the worst thing in the world. It is horrendous. It is horrible. I couldn't sit down for a good 2 weeks. Like, oh, no, horrible. Anyway, I had no idea what they were. And literally, like, I would say to people when they'd ask, because obviously, mum to mum, a birth story is like the best thing you could ever listen to. Like, every time someone has a baby, I'm like, I want to know the birth story. How did it go? Tell me. Like, this is literally me, okay? So, anyway, every time I would say to to anyone, like, my birth story, and I would mention forceps, it's like the fear of God was like, their face would just like, drop. It was like you had forceps, like literally, it was just the worst thing. But anyway, I had forceps. So my birth experience was not pleasant. I couldn't sit down for a week. And let me tell you, I did not Google forceps before I had them. I didn't even Google forceps for 3 weeks after I had my child because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Because I remember Ben saying that what they used was, it was like, it's given medieval torture. Like, it's horrendous, okay? So if you're about to have a baby, don't Google forceps, please. It will scar you. Like it scarred me, okay? But anyway, Solomon came into the world. It was an experience, but I just remember like I was so out of it because I would like the labor was crazy. Like it all happened within like 3 hours from me walking into hospital. I went into hospital at 9 p.m. with a bit of bleeding, and then he was born at 2 a.m. Like it was labor. Like it was intense. It was, didn't know what to do. We were in theater. It was crazy. Okay. And I remember being there and I was a bit like, when you're shaking because you're like in a bit of shock about everything that's going on. And I was like there, I was freezing cold. I was terrified being in labor. And I remember like they brought Sol, the baby, they brought him over to me, and I was just like so paranoid as to how I was feeling and shaking and scared that I thought I can't hold him. Like I'm not fit, I'm not stable to hold him. And I remember like they just brought him over to me, and Ben, my husband, was holding him, and I just looked at him and I just went like, "Oh, I'm getting emotional." I'm getting emotional. I remember saying like, "Hey baby," and guys, his head turned to me. And I remember the midwife, like his head just turned to me, and I remember the midwife saying, "Oh, he knows his mama's voice." And instantly, bang, in that moment, I was like, I am a mum. You know, like when you hear these stories where people just had their moment where they really realized who they were and what they were going to be. And like, it was like everything in their world made sense. Like, I feel like that for me was my moment of, I am your mum and I am going to do everything in my whole entire world to protect you, to look after you, to just enjoy you and raise. And that was the moment that like my life literally changed. Like in that moment, my whole experience, like in pregnancy, running up to that, like, yeah, you're excited. But when he turned to me, like he literally, like he was a newborn. He'd been out for half an hour, not even that. And he literally, 180 turned his head. And like that realization of, you know me of everything that was going on in that room and all of that chaos. It was like, see what I mean by I deep everything? But in that moment, when he turned to me and he looked at me, and she said he knows his mum. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, like we'd been together for 9 months. Like, of course you know my voice. But like, that's when I realized that like this is my biggest responsibility in life. This is the thing that I need to look at the most now, is being his mum. Like he is my world. And that for me was just the most incredible moment, like where I just felt like this is who I'm supposed to be. This is my purpose. Like I am here to be his mum. And we actually called him Solomon Jesse, and his name actually means gift. Jesse means gift. And the reason we actually love that name is not just because we think it sounds really cute, but like to us, that's exactly what he was. Like some gifts, like you never know what you're getting with a gift. You like people buy you a gift to appreciate you and give it to you and be generous. And like I'm a person of faith, and I genuinely believe that like he is from God. Like he I needed him. Like I really needed him. Like he aligned everything for me. And we called him Solomon Jesse, like gift, because that's exactly what he was. I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know what I was about to unwrap, but he was genuinely the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And that's basically where my life started. I know it sounds stupid when people say that sometimes when you're not a parent. And I used to think that, like, I'd be like, oh, these people that just talk about their kids and da 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 da. Like, have you got anything else in your life? But when you become a mum, like, whatever happens to you is just, I just, my life began, my purpose began. Like, you know what I mean? And when I think about like my journey with Saul, like I always say that we grew up together. Like my life started the same time, like as his. As I was nurturing my home, I was growing my child. As I was like doing all of this stuff, like growing my business, it was because I was like, I have to make this work now because he's coming. Like everything that I have done in the last like 5 years of my life has been because of him. And we have just grown together. And everything that I've done has been for him and with him. And it's been amazing. And I know that, like, for a lot of people, like the whole thing of being a mum, and yes, okay, like you have your own identity and things. And I absolutely do. And I stand by that. I am not just his mum. I am so much more than just his mum. But I guess what I'm trying to say is becoming his mum is what made me who I really am. Like that showed me who I want to be. It gave me insight into what's important in my life. It really showed me like everything from relationships to being a woman to the home and what I appreciate. Like everything that I do now, my kids are at the forefront. Um And yeah, like, even my relationship with Ben, like, I am so determined to look after us because my kids deserve a healthy mum and dad. And a healthy mum and dad looks like us investing time in ourselves and our relationship. I want my kids to grow up in a home that is, somewhere they want to hang out, somewhere they want to be in, somewhere where they feel super safe and at ease. So I invest my time differently now into different things. Like my relationships and friendships, I need somewhere where I can vent and I can vex and I can have these conversations. And so, I care now about what energy and, what I do and don't allow into my life. And it's all because of the lesson that Saul taught me when he was born and what that midwife said of he knows his mum, and it's my job as his mum to be the best version of me as what I can be. And so if you're wondering like what this podcast is going to be all about, oh my gosh, we are going to have some stories, because let me tell you the things I have learned in my life and being a mum and being a woman and just growing up in general. Like, we need some airtime on this, okay? Because I don't know anybody that has been able to give me the validation that I've ever needed as I have documented and journeyed and gone through everything that I have gone through as a mum. So yeah, if you're wondering what this podcast is going to include, we're going to be talking a heck of a lot about just the journey of life, being a mum, relationships, navigating change, everything that comes with being a mum, the hidden things, the hidden stuff that people don't talk about. We're going to be talking about over here. Okay. So just think of this as like a little, chat with your bestie that lives somewhere else, that's through the world of the internet, to just help you feel a little bit more normal in your motherhood, because that's something that I didn't have. Like I said earlier on in the podcast, like my journey was instantly started on the wrong foot because everything I ever saw about motherhood was always negative, and it absolutely is not. And so let this be the place where we vent and we vex and we laugh and we cry about the beautiful stuff of motherhood, but also let it be your safe place where you know that what you're experiencing is normal. Like, it is heck of a journey with challenges and, everything that comes with it. It is crazy. And I just really want this to be a safe place where you just know that, you're not alone. It's, you're not the only one going through this thing. I say it all the time. We're all in the same sea, you know? Some of us are going through a storm. Some of us are, looking at some really nice views right now. Some of us are in Saint Tropez. Some of us are in, where's that place in Italy? I love the Lake Como. I need to go there. Like, I need to go there. Do you know what I mean? But like, some of us are there. Some of us are in storms right now, and we're thinking, we're rocking from side to side, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, is this going to be a man overboard moment? Like, we're all in different boats in the same sea, going through different things, but that sea is motherhood. And there's so much in there that is the same. What you're going through, another mum has gone through. You're not the only one that's experiencing these feelings and these thoughts. So, yeah. I just want this to be a nice little safe place where all the normal mums in the world just come. My normal is my normal. Your normal is your normal. A judge-free zone. So anyway, that is a bit of background into my motherhood journey and how it has been for me. I am so grateful that you chose to join this podcast and you chose to listen to this. I don't know where you're listening from, but just know that I appreciate it so much. Episode 2, I'm going to dive in a little bit to pregnancy, okay, guys, because I love talking about pregnancy and birth. It's just the best thing ever. So please, like, all along this podcast, we're going to talk about everything under the sun. All right. So please join me for more episodes. I am so happy to have you here. I love you so much. Share this with a mum friend if you want to. Follow me on my social media on Instagram and YouTube. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.